of believers in our God, like a clan of Judah. Interesting. Remember, Ekron was another one. They would be integrated like the Jebusites. And then we see this Philistines, they will become a community of believers. They will become part of God's people. And we see that I remember I've always talked about that it was always God's intention to bring in the Gentiles. Remember the mystery of Christ in Ephesians 3. It was never just about ethnic Israel. The, the Gentiles were always included. And we see these nations, these enemies of the Jewish people, will be destroyed, but some of them will become part of God's family. Right? So the Philistines, again, like I said, they were composed of 5 major cities. 4 of them were previously mentioned. They were major enemies of the Jews. They will be brought down and humiliated. The phrase that blood in their mouth may be a reference to some religious practice they perform, possibly having to do something with eating meat and blood dripping. Remember the old covenant law that the Jews didn't allow that. God didn't allow that for the Jews. So if the Philistines would eventually become part of God's family, they would conform to God's law, right? He would save. Ultimately, he would save some from all of the nations that he would destroy. They were once part of the enemies of God's people, and then eventually they will become the community of believers for God.